Hello everybody, Jet here, and time for something a little bit different, guys. As you can probably tell by what's on your screen, I'm going to be doing something a little bit different today. I'm, as requested on my Discord, I'm just going to do a little bit about, well, you can see on the screen, I'm going to be talking about the latest sort of blog from Total War about Sun Jian and the Three Kingdoms Warlords guys. Now, this is something very new for me. It's a new format, so by all means let me know if you like it. If you don't like it, please give me feedback on how to improve, such as my lighting, which I realise is not good at the moment, and the fact I really need a shave, and the fact I'm going to keep doing things with my hands, which will inevitably annoy you all. Now, I have also shared a link to this on my Twitter, so if you do want that, I'll try and link it in the comments as well, but so you are aware of that. Now, disclaimer, this is multiple levels of disclaimer actually, because I'm not Total War staff, so obviously what I'm talking about could be complete and utter rubbish. May well be complete and utter rubbish, but also everything in this blog is subject to change, because the game is not final, so things may change. Now, this is my second take of this because my audio did go a bit weird first time. Some of my guys got to see that, but the rest of you won't. I might keep it as an outtake for some point. I do apologise, the room behind me is a bit of a mess if you do see it, which is why I've got my camera quite so zoomed in on me. Basically, this is the room full of baby stuff at the moment, because we've been given about 4 years worth of stuff for my son by friends, which is really, really nice. But I need to stop looking at my other screen, because I'm looking to check I'm recording. But it's really, really nice, but it does mean the room behind me is a bit of a mess. Anyway, I'm sure you don't really care about that. You want to know what's going on here. So, in Total War Three Kingdoms, players step into the shoes of one of 11 legendary warlords. At this, and tell me off for playing with my wedding ring. You step into the shoes of one of 11 legendary warlords as in this age of glorious conquest. Although the ultimate goal for each leader is the same, unite China under your banner and forge the next great dynasty, the preferred means and methods can differ greatly. Every warlord has their own unique personality, motivations, and experience, while all shape the way they play and the kind of conquest they favour. So basically every lord's different, and they've got different ways of doing it. With such an iconic and varied cast available, each campaign starts with an important choice. Which of these heroes, villains, or murky-shades-of-grey types you wish to lead to glory? You want to lead to glory. It's hard enough to make this decision. Basically, it's very, as this goes on to say, it's very hard to make the decision without knowing who's who. Everybody's different, and every character they've got their own archetype, which kind of explains what they are and how they do things, and they've got various different mechanics. So today we're talking about Sun Jian, the Daredevil, which tells you what you need to know about him. So he's a skilled and daring, known for taking risks and constantly seeking to prove himself. His units can gain guerrilla deployment in enemy territory, supporting his aggressive playstyle. This sounds like Vanguard deployment to me, so we'll have to see that. By proving his bravery, he gains increased replenishment in enemy territory, reduced mercenary costs, and increased character satisfaction. He's a sentinel. I'm not really sure what that means. I assume it means he's a bit of a defensive character, which sounds odd for his play. And his name is the Tiger of Jingdong. Sorry, I was just having a little cough. Sun Jian, he's definitely a Sun Wan. He isn't Spanish. Sun Jian was born in 155 CE to a poor family in South China. Unlike other warlords of his period, he came from powerful, esteemed lineages. Sun Jian's father was a merchant, and his lowborn background is what gives him the constant urge to prove himself against strong foes. He's a skilled and daring warrior known for taking risks. He excels under pressure and at his best when the deck is stacked against him. Fighting to end the chaos flooding through China, Sun Jian has risked his life for the good of the realm on multiple occasions, most famously when fighting the bandits at the siege of Wancheng. Sun Jian placed himself at the head of his army and climbed the city walls alone, killing 20 men before the rest of the army flooded in. Now, how much of that is poeticized, is legend, and how much is real is debatable, obviously. Sun Jian has never shied away from opportunity, despite his loyalties. And despite his loyalties, the fall of the imperial court presents great opportunities. As a young man, Sun Jian rose from the obscurity of his mercantile upbringing, learning from the deeds of his father that fortune must be seized, never accepted. It is this determined spirit that drives the tiger of Jiangdong forward. May his roar sweep away all obstacles. I know I read that a bit wrong, guys. Just prior to the start of the game, Sun Jian finds the imperial seal in the wreckage of Luoyang, passed from dynasty to dynasty. It said, whoever holds the imperial seal shall rule China. While against the tyrant, that just reads a bit long to me. Anyway, while against the tyrant Dong Zhao falling apart. Should it say with the aging tyrant? I'm not sure there. I don't know the lore particularly well, the history of this period particularly well. So Sun Jian decides to take the imperial seal back southwards to his home in Changsha, where his beloved wife and family reside. Playstyle. He's a talented warrior who pushes his armies forward and is always on the attack. If he keeps proving his bravery, his gains increase replenishment in any territory, recruit mercenaries at a low price, and increases satisfaction of characters loyal to him. In enemy territory, all his units have guerrilla deployment supporting his aggressive playstyle. So I think that means his entire army gets effectively vanguard deployment. To finance his offensive campaigns, Sun Jian can leverage the connections from his merchant family background. All of his ports increase income from commerce across his holdings. So basically, you get extra money from ports. Playing as Sun Jian, you'll be rewarded for initiating battles, particularly those where numbers are against you. After all, even when outnumbered, a player who attacks multiple armies can still defeat opposition through smart or aggressive tactics in battle. As Sun Jian's entire army gains guerrilla deployment in such situation, this means he has the shortest potential time to an engagement of any faction, making it possible to defeat an army before reinforcements enter the fray. This is a potentially riskier approach, however, as without decisive action early, the player can find themselves overwhelmed in a protracted fight. Such battles are likely to be costly, but replenishment bonuses granted to Sun Jian's faction through the resource pool effects grant his army reduced downtime between battles. Therefore, the ability to continue fighting at the front as long as they are well supplied. So we get two things from there. Obviously, my entire army is going to get effectively vanguard deployment, I believe, from that, which means we'll be able to push forwards very quickly, get into the attack very quickly, take advantage of formations, and, effectively have lots of sort of ambush style attacks, guys, which is very good. Also, they've mentioned supplies again, and now they did have a supplies mechanic which they were trialing in Britannia Total War, so we'll have to see if that's been brought over in some form, because I know they did mention it was one of the things they were trying out, because they were using Britannia to do things. So Sun Jian is married to Lady Wu, and together they have three young children, Sun Se, Sun Wan, and Sun Ren. Sun Quan. Guided well, their power and influence will only grow over time, perhaps even eclipse that of the father himself. So they may end up more powerful. Okay. We've just had that paragraph. That's exactly what's written in there. With the young family in the homestead down south, and motivations of his so-called allies becoming murkier by the day, it's easy to understand why Sun Jian wanted to return home during such a pivotal point in his story. However, on his way home, he was ambushed by Biao's, I can't pronounce that, I do apologise, forces, and barely managed to survive, losing half his army in the process. Although he would later win multiple battles against Liao Biao, please tell me how to pronounce that, outside the city of Xiangyang, his risk-taking nature soon shone through. Refusing to flee after omens told him of impending defeat. Soon afterwards, he was ambushed again and shot to death with countless arrows, leaving his young children to grow up without a father. When playing Sun Jian, your initial challenge is to make it back to the safety of your family and rewrite history in your favour. This is the same as what is written in here. So the game begins with Sun Jian in the north of the Yangtze River in Jiangling. He's away from his home, deep in enemy territory. Although that's nothing new to him, he must continue his journey southwards back to his family and begin building his base of power. Once there, his main focus in the short term is fighting against the Han Empire in the south and fortifying his stronghold in Changsha. Although this all changes when you're faced with your campaign's first dilemma. So, well, obviously the first thing we've got is we're going to start in enemy territory and have to escape quite quickly, and then we get our initial dilemma. Everybody's going to get a dilemma, guys, and these dilemmas basically help influence the campaign, and they're kind of, this one certainly is with history or against history. So Sun Jian's first major choice involves the much coveted Imperial Seal. When Liao Biao requests it from you, giving you two choices. You can accept losing the seal and improving your relations with Liao Biao, or you can decline, pushing your alignment more towards Yuan Shu and making Liao Biao an enemy. Now we'll have to see in the campaign if we do this. I am liking the sound of this guy, I'm going to be honest. Early on, okay, we've just had this bit, so early in your campaign, each playable warlord will have an initial dilemma they are faced with. Once they fulfill certain prerequisite actions, these dilemmas put the player at a fork in the road in a pivotal moment in the warlord story. One of the options available to you is a historical choice, reflecting what actually happened, and the outcomes will follow how the events in the period unfolded. The other lets you forge your own story, the path of what could have been. Total War is all about giving players the freedom to create their own stories at the fulcrum of some of the most exciting moments in human history, and these initial dilemmas epitomise that spirit. So they're kind of giving you two sort of options to opt how your campaign starts, which is an interesting way. I'm fairly sure you can break it even if you don't follow the original thing. So obviously we've just had this. Now, if you don't go with him, you can decline pushing your line more towards Yuan Shu, making him an ally and Liao Bao an enemy. The fallout from this choice is huge, and at this point in your narrative, your narrative can switch drastically. Either Liao Bao is appeased and your northern borders are relatively safe, and your immediate focus now changes to establishing your power base south of the Yangtze, or it's all-out war against Liao Biao and his vassals right on your doorstep. Either choice is likely to dominate your mid-game. So we've got a choice of who we ally with basically early on and which war we pursue. And it sounds like basically you've got one option is the hard mode. What kind of player is Sun Jian for? Oh, basically our ultimate goal here is to dominate China. But anyway, so Sun Jian is the choice for the risk taker, the thrill seeker, someone who tires of playing it safe and knows when the odds are stacked against them. Knows that when the odds are stacked against them, it makes for an epic tale of victory. And we've got various further reading here, guys. As I mentioned, I have linked this down in the thing. So he does sound like an interesting general. We've got our very interesting playstyle there of where we want to be forward, we want to constantly be attacking, we want to constantly be in enemy territory attacking to get the most from him. It does probably mean he's a very risky character to play because, let's be honest, being in enemy territory, while he gets all those bonuses, constantly being in enemy territory is a dangerous thing. That said, he does sound like a fun general to play, and I'm not going to say he's the one I'm going to play first. This is the first one of these I've seen, and as we go through all of these and I read all of these, I'll probably get a better idea of who I want to play. But he sounds like a very fun character to play, and I will definitely be playing him at some point, if not at the start. Let me know what you think, guys. Pop any comments in the comments. As mentioned at the start, this is something new for me, so please feel free to give feedback in the feedback section or jump over to my Discord and say hi. There is a link to my Discord in the comments and the description, as well as links to my Twitter and my Patreon, guys. Thank you very much for your time.